So I am going to be placing a potential trade here on the Euro Japanese yen, and so if the market does get to my entry points, then I am going to be placing a live trade. This is going to be based on an advanced pattern called the Cypher pattern. So as you can see on the chart, I've already got my points: the X to A leg, A to B leg, B to C leg, and the C to D leg. Now I just need to bring in my Fibonacci and make sure that all the points and all the rules of a Cypher pattern have been met. In terms of the Fibonacci retracement point. So as you can see, I just need you to pay attention to the colored Fibonacci lines, because those are the most important points when it comes to the Cypher pattern. So the X to A leg needs to come into the 382 Fibonacci retracement, and then the B to C leg has to extend to the 127 Fibonacci extension. And in terms of my entry point, it has to be at the 886 Fibonacci retracement of the X to the C leg. So this is where I'm going to be placing a short position if the market gets there. As you can see, the market is slowly starting to get to my entry point. So I'm just going to bring in my triangle, and that's where I'm going to be shorting the market. So and then after I short the market, then we're going to talk about the targets, or where my targets are going to go. So usually people that trade advanced pattern, they usually go for 2 targets, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can go for 2 targets if you want. But based on this pattern that I'm trading right here, because the Cypher pattern is a pattern with a very, very high success rate, so I just tend to aim for 1 target, which is the 618 Fibonacci retracement of the C to D leg. So I'm only going to be aiming for 1 target on this advanced pattern, and not just because the Cypher pattern is the most, it's the advanced pattern with the highest success rate, but also because this pattern, based on what the structure of the market is currently, I have a very, very high confidence in it that it's going to go to my target. So as we await this market, I'll be ready to place a short position once we get to that D point. We can see we're almost there. We just touched it second time. So I place a short position right at that point. So now, in terms of a target, like I just mentioned it, I'm going to be aiming for just 1 target of the Cypher pattern, and that's going to be the 618 retracement of the C to D leg. So this is where my target is going to be. 618 Fibonacci retracement. I will change that to green. So if the market does come down all the way to this point, this is where I'm going to be exiting the market. And in terms of my stop loss, that doesn't change as far as advanced pattern rules go. So my stop loss is going to be at a 1-to-1 ratio from what would have been the first target of this trade. So the first target would have been, if I was to trade an advanced pattern just like how most people trade it, I would have taken my first target at the 382 Fibonacci retracement, which is somewhere there, and that's what I'm going to use to gauge where my stop loss is going to be. So I draw my box here. So this is a 382 Fibonacci retracement right there. I'm going to change that, right, and I'm just going to drag it all the way to the top here. So if the market goes all the way there, that's where my stop loss is going to be. So there is an easy way to know where your stop loss is going to go if you're trading an advanced pattern, or especially all advanced pattern, because the simple rule for most advanced pattern is that once the price goes beyond X, then that trade is completely invalidated. And this is one of the reasons why I love advanced pattern, because the rules are very simple and clear to follow. Once you understand it, it's very clear and simple to follow. Obviously there's a lot of things that, for you to be able to trade advanced pattern effectively, you still have to be able to understand the structure. You have to be able to understand bullish structures, bearish structures, consolidation, and all that sort of things, if you want to be able to be very effective in trading advanced pattern. So now as we watch this trade, we can see that the market is definitely heading towards my profit. If I traded advanced pattern like everyone, with the first target being at a 382 retracement, I probably would have taken my profit by now. But what usually happens is, this is from my experience in trading advanced pattern, I find out that every single time if the market hits your first target, the second target usually gets taken out for break even. It usually goes back to the D point, and then you lose your second target. So effectively, you're only taking just a half a position, because if when you trade advanced pattern the normal way that people trade it, when it gets to the 382 Fibonacci retracement, you only close half of the position, and then you move your stop loss to break even, and you let the other position run. That's the standard way. But if you trade advanced pattern that way, there's nothing wrong with that, first of all. But obviously, like I said, once you understand structure and you're able to pick advanced patterns that have the potential to give you a winning trade, then you don't want to be trading that way. So you only want to be aiming for the second position target. Now, this just made my point. As you can see, the market went all the way back to the entry point. If I had traded advanced pattern the way everybody trades it, I would have taken a profit on this trade, but it would have been just a slight profit. So in terms of where the first target would have been, I would have taken about 182 pips, but that would have been half of that. That would have been just 90 pips profit on the first on the target, and that's it. The advanced pattern is done. But with this strategy, so with the way I'm trading right now, I'm aiming for over 355 pips, and that's going to be a full position. You're not halving anything. So I'm just going to slightly move this out of the way, because I do see that the market is kind of big. I didn't expect it to last this long before heading to my target. So I'm going to just move that a little bit further. So let's see what the market is going to do right now. Still in profit, still hovering around the entry point, but I do expect this market to head down to the profit target. So we're gonna get there. Hopefully we're gonna get there. And yeah, if you do have any questions, guys, in terms of how to trade advanced pattern, just do let me know in the comment section down below. Or I do teach people how to trade advanced pattern, all the 6 advanced patterns. There's 6 advanced patterns out there that you can actually trade. So you don't have to rely on just knowing a single advanced pattern. And you've got the Gartley pattern, the bat pattern, the shark pattern, crab pattern, and also the butterfly pattern. So all those patterns, they all have specific advanced pattern ratio in terms of with the Fibonacci numbers. So once you know those numbers, the Fibonacci ratios, then it's all about you move on to a process called training your eyes. So you have to spend a lot of time analyzing the charts before you're able to see these advanced patterns, because the most important thing about an advanced pattern is you have to be able to see it before it happens. So you have to be able to predict, because if you're seeing what I've done here, as soon as the C leg has been formed, I immediately have it in my at the back of my mind that the market is heading towards the D points. Now sometimes we get there, sometimes we're not going to get there, but you have to be able to anticipate that the market is going to get there, and that's why you're going to be taking your trade. So we're just a few minutes away from, and I'm manually going to close this. I've manually placed it. Sometimes some people used to use a pending order to place a trade. There's nothing wrong with that as well. So just move this a little bit. There you go. So we've taken 344 pips from this market. It might have been a little bit less, 331 pips from the market. So that's how you trade the Cypher pattern. This is a live trade that's been taken in the market to show you guys the analysis and also how to plan ahead. And it's a little bit different in terms of how you take your profits, but like I said, once you understand how these advanced patterns are formed, once you understand structure, then you're going to be able to just go for 2 targets instead of 1 target.